Namaskar. Good evening to all. Hingori Sutras welcomes you to In Conversation with Mr. Raji Sharma. Yoga, the Vedas, Buddhism, and other spiritual traditions teach that everything is made up of 5 elements collectively, known as tattvas: earth, air, fire, water, and space or ether. And that the relationship amongst them tells us how cosmic life unfolds. It's a divine composition at play, or in the case of imbalance, at war within each of us. Mudras are a valuable tool to create harmony among the internal tattvas and help you focus on the aspect of your life that feels challenging. To take us through the philosophy of mudras, we have with us Shri Raji Sharma. Yes, I would prefer to use Gyani instead of the prefix Mr. Raji Sharmaji is blessed with immense gyan or knowledge on various spiritual subjects. It is not just in theory, it is in fact experiential gyan realized through several years of practice. The depth and expanse of his gyan keeps us awestruck. We at Hingori Sutras are humbled to have you with us today, sir. आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. A very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Anjali ji. Really appreciate that. I don't know whether I deserve all those kind of medals that you're giving me and the appreciations.
A lot
but anyway,
more than that, sir.
whatever little that I know, by the grace of my divine gurus and the rishis, I'll portray it just the way it has come to me.
Right. So can we start on? Our audience is quite eager to learn about mudras today.
Yes, certainly.
So my first question to you is, what are mudras? There seem to be so many different kinds of mudras. So if you could just take us through what really are mudras.
See, I have always believed that whenever you do a subject, whether reading or actually in practice, you must understand what the word means. Mudra, if you were to do the Sandhi Vichhed, what really means is break up the word. It means mud and ra. Mud comes from the Tantra called Kulnar of Tantra. Here, mud represents the happiness, the bliss, the joyousness. So mud basically means joyousness. And ra means the one that generates or produces. So that is what is mudra. Now this is generation of blissfulness, happiness, for whom? Here it is for the happiness and blissfulness of two. One is to the deity that you have in your mind, that you're meditating on, whether it's the deity or it is an abstract meditation. So let's put it, mudra also means from that aspect, welcome to the gods. As far as the humans are concerned, or the sadhak is concerned, or the person performing is concerned, the person who's meditating is concerned, whether on a deity or in terms of an abstract meditation, it also provides him the same sense of feeling, blissfulness, and joyousness. It produces within him. Any gesture that produces such is called a mudra. Basically, that is the meaning of the word mudra. Now, over the years, mudras have been practiced by various religions, faiths, and beliefs and sects. In fact, even cults. Apart from Hinduism, we have a lot of this in Buddhism, Jainism, Zenism in Japan. So the mudras are basically divided into several categories. Anything that is producing joyousness is a mudra. So there are what are called the has mudras, or gestures which are done by the hand. These actually take you towards the more gyan motivated, more consciousness motivated. Then there are the mano mudras, or called the siddh mudras. Here, the usage in the mudras is not only by the hands, but also by eyes, by the tongue, by lips, by ears. To give you an example, we can say, take the example of Kechari Mudra, which is in the Hatha Yoga, where purposely you insert the tongue back into the girdle to stop the nectar from the crown chakra going into the stomach and being wasted. Also, an example is the Sambhavi Mudra, where the eyes are pointed up deep into their sockets upwards towards Agni Chakra. Very painful, but then gives you the concentration. So it's more of a forceful way of concentrating to bring about that consciousness within the body. Then there are Kaya Mudras, or the Yoga Mudras. The Yoga Mudras basically are, I would say, the asanas. It is a posture. It is a gesture of the body. It is a way that you put the body in a certain manner. You can say Padmasana, you can say Sukhasana, Vajrasana, and so on and so forth. These also broadly would fall under the category of the mudras. The other kind of mudras are also called the bandh, or the lock systems. These lock systems are done by the body, stomach, other parts of the lower body, throat, and various, all hands and feet are also used in it. To give you an example, these are called the Mahabandhs, which are also the Mahabhed Bandh and the Mahaved Bandh. Apart from this, I would say these mudras or these bandhs are basically done to lighten up or awaken the Kundalini. That is why they have to be done in the presence and the guidance of a teacher or a great master who's aware of these. The third, the fifth that I would say are the what are called the adhars. The adhars means they are more of male psychosexual energies that are controlled by it, which means getting the bindu and setting the bindu. Bindu is basically what is the viryam. And to protect that viryam, these bandhs or these mudras are done. So I would say these are the basic categories. Also, there are categories which I would put in like a Kala Mudras. Kala Mudra meaning when you do dance recital, you'll see the movement of the eyes, movements of the hands, movement of the feet. So these are also mudras. There are also feet mudras, whereby you energize the various points in the lower part of the feet by rubbing the feet together. So they also energize you. But the most important thing, the most important mudras are the has mudras, which we will discuss in due course.
Ji, what is the significance of mudras? I mean, what are the purpose of doing mudras? And could you just throw some light on that?
See, the mudras basically depend on your intent. What is the intent? That is why it gains significance, the type of mudra you have to do. When we talk about intent, there are two kinds of intent. One is to achieve something, to get siddhis, emancipation through those siddhis. So those are meant for bhog. Bhog meaning to enjoy. So those mudras, or that stream of mudras, is called bhubukshu. Whereas the ones with the intent of only moksha or liberation are called mumukshus. So they gain importance as a pillar. They're independent by themselves, but for any meditation you do, you have to have something as a support. So in meditation, there are two things. One is the object of your meditation. Object of the meditation means the deity of the meditation, whoever the deity may be. Whereas in the abstract meditation, there is no deity. So depending on that, the stream of mudras that one takes, it gains the significance of the mudras, that they become the tools, the support of what you are trying to do.
You just mentioned about the Hasta Mudras, and their importance. So why are they used in yogic practices, and how are they used in yogic practices?
To understand the Hasta Mudras, you must first understand the basic life form. What does this whole life consist of? How this came about? So you'll observe that there are 5 basic elements that combine together and join to make this life happen. The 5 elements being fire, air, water, earth, and of course the space. So it is the enjoining of these that makes the energy of each of these elements come to prominence. And they accordingly are then blended into the yogic practices by the Hasta Mudra. Why the Hasta? Hands, there's a feeling, the touch feeling in the entire body. Let's say a mosquito bites you at one part of the arm, you'll feel that there's a mosquito bitten me. Or if your toe hits a rock or a pebble, you feel the pain. All the senses have their own particular area which they are the most effective on. So the touch, the feel is in the hands, in the fingertips. So combining these two, various aspects of the elements is why the mudras become very important in yoga practices, because they're the tools to enhance and energize those various elements.
So how do they work? How do the mudras really work when used?
Okay, now let me give you one example. When we discuss this example, you can apply it to the various other elements. Take the case of our hands, which have all the 5 elements. The thumb representing the fire, and the index finger representing the air. The middle finger represents the space, and you'll observe it's the longest finger in the hand. The ring finger represents earth, and the little finger represents water. Now, all these elements, when they are in the body, they are being dissipated outside. To control them, to put them together, we need to enjoin them. So I will take one example and I'll elaborate on that example Similarly, it can be for the other elements also. I'll take the element of fire and air. And I'll tell you the reason why I'm taking these two elements. In all our Vedic scriptures, especially the Rig Veda, the main deity is what? Is the sun. Sun and then fire. Most of the rishis, in fact, all the 356 rishis, all rishis have had the reverence to Agni or fire. So fire is the chief element which produces life. Without fire, there is no life. But with the fire, you need something else. And that from fire came out air. So these two elements are the most important elements. We can say there's water too. But where does the water come from? Chemical composition of water is H2O. So it's really coming from air. And if you say, okay, it's water, but what about the earth? The coagulation of water, what else forms the earth? So the two basic elements are fire and air. There is no fire without air. It's the air that fans the fire. And it is the warmth of that air that fire gets extinguished. So once these two elements are put together, it generates everything that we need. The air, when it is produced by the fire, it brings movement. The Agni itself, or you can say the sun or light, is also Gyan. I'll come to that a little later, although I get a little off track. So once the fire moves the air, in the movement is life. In that movement is Pran. The Pran is the life source of all things on this earth. Not only human beings, but it's animals, all creatures, birds, reptiles, fish, plants, even a stone. Without the formation of the earth, which actually came in from the water, and the water came from the air, and the air from the fire, it's a combination that makes that stone. It is these fires that there are various kinds of fires, and the fires, there are various kinds of lights. These fires produce what is called the air. And in our Shastra, in our Rig Veda, they talk about 7 airs. The 7 airs with a multiplication factor of up airs, or the subdivision of 7 airs into 7, make 49 airs. It is this combination of the 49 airs that makes this earth, this atmosphere, and this universe function. It's the air that moves the light. It is the air that drops the rain. It is the air that you hear the sound from. So once these 49 airs work, they produce life. So then we get involved in this life. To go back to the source, how do you go back to the source? You can only go back to the source from the way that you came. There is no other shortcut. There's no other way. We'll not talk about the mind because that is also formation. But you have to go back through the elements. So these elements, over a period of time, to be practiced and brought under complete harmony, is what makes you go towards that consciousness and assists you as a tool to achieve that consciousness or reach it. It's not an achieving part, but it's where you reach that consciousness.
That sort of it's got me thinking as to how does this happen? Is there some sort of an electromagnetic energy that is generated? Like, for example, the aura around one finger, see, from the left hand, touches the aura of the finger from the right hand. How does that impact the energy inside and creates that energy?
There are two currents. There is a negative and a positive. There is a prana and a pan. There's a breath in, there's a breath out. There are two kinds of heat. There's a visual light. The heat and light and jnana are supposed to be the same thing. It's just another matter of saying, can you take the heat away from the fire? You can't. It's the same thing. So like there are two of everything, like there are two lights. What is the two lights? One is the visual light and the other is the invisible light. So when we are on this earth, we see the visible lights. Within the visible lights, there are three lights. It represents the light on earth is what we call Agni. The light in the heavens, we call the sun. But there's a connection between the sun and the earth, or the fire on earth. The third visual light is the light of thunder or lightning. That is also Agni. Now, this is what we are seeing physically. What about the invisible light? Where does that light come from? To give an example, will you be able to make a castle in the air? If I were to ask you, Anjali, can you make a castle in the air? Would you be able to make it?
In my mind,
Why?
Yes.
Okay.
Visually, yes, but
we will come to the mind just after half a minute. So you cannot make a castle in the air for whatever reason.
Right.
But you can see that huge big ball of fire hanging in space without any support.
True.
You see that ball of fire burning by itself, self-fulgent. Where is that fuel coming from? It has to be fueled. So the fuel that is coming from it is that invisible light that lightens that sun, that lightens all the other planets, and that gets the twinkling to the stars and all in the heavens. But you can't see it. It's invisible.
Right.
So that is one invisible part. There are three invisible lights. One is the invisible light of that consciousness, that invisible light, what we talk, and we say, oh, Savita. The name of that invisible light is Savita. Then there is an invisible light that is here on earth. And that invisible light is the Atma that is all within us. That life form, that germ that is not only in us, but everything that exists on this earth, on the planet, and all other parts of the universe. But yet there is another invisible light that connects them together. And that invisible light, that gyan, that movement of that invisible light from that ultimate infinite source of Savita, moving to the finite source of the Atma, is the prana. So now what we've defined Agni, the visual Agni, we've defined the invisible Agni, and we've defined the invisible being and you define the prana. So therefore, the most important mudra is when you combine the fire element with the air element, it gives you the consciousness of the being. When that being takes in the consciousness as itself, as not an intelligent soul, but as an intelligent or a living soul, it becomes the Jivatma, or the living embodied soul. How are the mudras important? If you were to meditate and you meditate on a deity, now everybody in this audience, and including you, Anjali, can you tell me the shape, the form of any deity, or let's call Shiva? Can you tell me what he looks like? Is it the form that you see? Is that the form, clean shaven, beautiful eyes, red lipped with lipstick, rose and mascara? Is that the Shiv?
No.
My guru used to say, my grandmaster used to say, he says, do you think the one that you call as the deity of death and life is so beautiful looking? He goes to a barber to have his shaving done and his haircut done and mend them. So all this is kalpana. So why we get deviated, that is the difference between the meditation in the abstract form and the deity form. But yet we need to concentrate, because without visualization, we cannot concentrate. So what does the mudra do?
What is the purpose? What is the purpose of mudra?
What does the mudra do? What does the mudra do?
Hanji.
When you enjoin the fire element, which is the unseen fire element, that unseen light which also resides in you, and that unseen air element of prana, the air that you cannot see, it gives you the sensation of that consciousness. It revives back and says, oh, I am. That is the purpose of the mudra. Similarly, you can enjoy the other elements of nature in the same manner. And by putting them in different, touching them differently at various places, the same finger, different sensations are achieved.
So can one of them you said was the consciousness, that is the main purpose of mudras. But what I've read is also, can the practice of mudras help in curing certain anomalies, ailments in the human body? How does it help to detoxify the body?
You see, when you put the two elements together with a fire being the chief element, what is fire? Fire is the light, it is heat, it is gyan. Light and fire are the same thing. So you get that gyan. The gyan of what? The consciousness of the gyan itself. The consciousness of the consciousness meeting the other element. And once these two elements meet, they produce their own sensation, they produce their own color. That is how the various ailments are cured. But how are they cured? In Ayurveda, there are three main dosh, or three main categories where the illness begins. One is pith, vat, and kapha. Basically meaning the fire element, the air element, and the water element. So enjoining the fire element with the other two elements, all the other ailments connected, associated with those elements, any diseases get cured, or because of the harmony or the imbalance that had taken place, and the harmony that it brings about, they are cured and they get a natural relief.
Ji, can you tell us how the mudras are used in spiritual practices? How can they help us attain spiritual progress? For example, how do mantra vidya and mudras work together?
Okay. If we were to take the mudra basically is a standalone. It doesn't need any support. Because once you're in abstract meditation, the mudra assists you for that abstract meditation. It doesn't need, it's a pillar in itself. But it is a pillar to the meditation. It is a pillar to any chanting. It's a pillar to pranayam. And pranayam acting within the mudra. Let me explain this to you, what I mean. A mudra, being standalone, needs nothing. So it goes into complete vacuity. That is the purpose. But what happens when chanting? Because all of us are not evolved enough to be able to do that abstract meditation, so we go towards chanting. When you're chanting, what is the purpose? What does the mantra basically mean? Mantra means manantara. It has two aspects to it. One that is recited within the mind, antara. But what happens when you recite it within the mind? It throws the mind out. It throws everything out. It empties the mind. When emptying the mind, it needs a support. So what is the support of the mudra? The first support of the mudra for meditation is the posture, is the asana. Whatever kind of asana you sit, whether it's Padmasana, or whether it is Sukhasana, or it's Vajrasana, or any asana. But why the asana sitting down? Why is it important to sit down spine erect? That is also mudra. That's what I'm saying, that asanas are also part of mudra, in as much as it is the mudra or the gesture of the body. There are three conditions that a body lives in. One is standing straight. I'm not talking about walking, but let's say a straight posture. The other is a lying down posture. And the third is the madhya, or the middle one, which is a sitting posture. So when you sit, it's spine erect. You've already achieved all the three combined together. Where you're sitting on your below back, your spine is erect as while standing, and your feet are cuddled up in a state where they're at rest. So this is also mudra. So the asana mudra, along with the hasta mudra, promotes that sense of vacuity where the prana moves upwards towards that consciousness. So what is happening? We are now trying to reach a situation of that consciousness. How does the mudra assist the consciousness? With the mudra and the posture, when you concentrate, meditate, something happens to the body. What happens to the body is that your breath starts to get controlled. When the breath is controlled, or the breath gets to a level of suspension, the mind also gets controlled. As the great rishis have put it, it's a very thundering statement. They say, the movement of thought in the mind is due to the movement of the prana. And the movement of the prana is due to the movement of the thought in the consciousness. So both of them subdue each other. So once in meditation, with the tool and assistance of mudra, your prana gets suspended or controlled or lightened or becomes same, where you do not feel the in-breath and the out-breath. Your mind is also controlled. That is why with the mudra and pranayam practiced together, you get a much greater efficacy during that meditation.
Right. So, this takes me to another thought. Are only those that are written in scriptures and documented considered as mudras, or do mudras also happen naturally? For example, when I'm lying down and I have my hands folded on my chest, would that to be known as a mudra? And what is the impact of that? Because I believe...
Go ahead. Complete your question.
I was just saying, because I believe that it is recommended while doing mantra vidya.
What? Recommended
while
what?
you're lying down and while you do, you can do mantra vidya while lying down as well with your hand on the chest.
Of course. See, any gesture. That's why when my the opening sentence was, any gesture that provides you joyousness or produces joyousness is mudra. A natural movement of the hands towards your chest is also mudra, as long as it is providing you the joyousness, the comfort, and bringing about a harmony, producing that harmony, that blissfulness is a mudra. I know, when I sleep every night, my hands move into chin mudra automatically. I don't have to do it. It automatically moves into chin mudra. Both my hands, whether I lie, whatever side I lie down on, both of them get into chin mudra. I don't know if you've observed, even F.C. Sharmaji, if you saw his photograph sitting, his hands were in chin mudra or gyan mudra. So this happens naturally. It becomes a part of you. That gesturing becomes a part of your own character. Character of what? What character is that? The character of blissfulness. It produces itself. Yes, I would consider it as a mudra.
So how and when should one practice mudras?
See, most of the hast mudras can be practiced at any time. While sitting, standing, walking, lying down, because these are, I would say, generic mudras. The best time to perform mudras is, of course, in the morning or any time that you are in meditation or doing your part. The important thing of doing mudras is to be the continuity of the mudra. You have to do the mudras to achieve the benefits and its efficacy. You have to do the mudras for a period of time. You can't say it's not instantaneous that you started this and it's like a Ceridon tablet that you took and said, my headache is gone. You have to practice it. The elements of your body have to be synchronized, and they only get synchronized when you practice it. So what do they recommend? They recommend you must do a mudra at least 30 minutes in a day. One mudra. You can split it up in sections of 15 minutes each, or 10 minutes each. But the magical number is 30 minutes. Why is the magical number 30 minutes? I can guarantee you, I don't know whether anybody will be able to give you an answer why it's 30 minutes.
No, please do. Why is it 30 minutes?
The day and night has been divided into muhurts, into a time zone. Each muhurt is 48 minutes. There are 30 minutes to a day and night. So which means you should perform the mudra for at least one muhurt or one muhurtam. The best time to do the mudras is, of course, in the morning and evenings during the Sandhya time. Even during the day at mid-noon or the solar noon. I mean, I differ from the mid-noon to the solar noon. The solar noon is different than the mid-noon. Mid-noon, you say it's 12 o'clock, but the solar noon is the center of the day, depending on the longitude and latitude that you are, in the season that you are, in the place that you are. For instance, the solar noon today was 12:22. In winters, it reaches to even 11:52 during the day. And mudras combined with meditation, with pranayam, has the best combination. And the best combination, of course, being if you do that in the Brahm Muhurtam. The Brahm Muhurtam is 96 minutes before sunrise, which is the Sandhya. Sandhya means enjoining together. And also in the evening when there's a sunset. Those are the best times. But anyway, Das Mudras can be done at any time. But some of the, let's say, for instance, the Hatha Yoga Mudras cannot be done. You need a proper place, you need to sit, you have to extend your hands, you go to sit down, Hatha Yoga Mudras are forceful mudras. They require a lot of pressure, go to the body, tongue, or all the other organs of the body. So I would say that, and while doing the mudra, the best posture is, of course, while sitting. That's what I would say.
Right. You spoke about continuity and consistency. Yeah. What happens when your practice is a little erratic? So does that mean that you lose all the effect and you have to start all over again every time?
No, not really. You see, this is the great thing about mudras. Mudras has a memory. It's like a muscle memory. When you go to a gym and you start picking up weights, you can't pick up a 50 kg weight to begin with. You start with 5 kgs, 10 kgs, 20, 30, 40, 50, and you build up a muscle. That muscle has a memory. When you quit going to the gym for a year or 2 years and rejoin, it's not going to take at the same time. It revives. The muscle has the memory for it to revive. And once you start doing it, you'll see that the muscle bounce back to its same condition, not 5 years that it took, but maybe 15 days, 20 days, 2 months. So in this particular case, depending on the intensity and duration of your mudras that you performed, it may be 2 minutes to come back to the same state. Sometimes it's instantaneous. because it's nothing as a weight that you have to pick up. It's the mental neuro activity that has to be generated, which is already there. So it's the familiarity with it that gets you back, bounces you back into the same state very soon.
Oh, right. So, which is the mudra that helps in taming the mind and to overcome emotions like anger, fear, greed, passion, ego?
Anjali, there are various mudras but I would say the main mudras, depending on whether it's passion, it's anger, but I would say things like Gyan Mudra, Abhay Mudra, the Karan Mudra, they're all very, very effective.
Right. So, if you were to recommend practicing mudras, which one would those be? I mean, you did mention it, but which one would those be?
What I do, I do maybe 2 or 3 mudras every day, but I've been practicing most of the mudras, maybe 7, 8 of them, which I have made a small video and I forwarded it to you if you'd like to play it for the audience, for everybody to see. That will give you the how to perform the mudra, what to do before the mudra. When I perform the mudra, I combine it with my meditation time. So that assists me not only in meditation, but also in the preparation of the mental psychic ability, that psychic activity that is generated during meditation and combined with pranayam and with the mudra. So I combine all three things together.
Right. So, what are the best practices to follow while doing the mudras? Before we demonstrate and show everybody the video that you've so graciously created for us, what are the best practices?
The way I do it, I can say that everybody has his own way of doing things. They have their own masters, they have their own gurus. But I first pay my reverence to my gurus. I pay reverence to Mother Earth. I pay reverence to the asana that I sit on. And I request my guruvars and rishivars to bless me during that part to make it successful. And then I start the mudras by basically, you see, it's a combination of meditation, chanting, mudra, because once you're doing chanting and you start the mudra, you automatically move away from the chanting with the assistance and the power of the energy of the mudra to more of an abstract meditation. So that's what I do. I do abstract meditation.
Yeah. So can we play the video that you've created now, sir? For the
Kindly.
To see?
Kindly. I mean, whatever best I could in these COVID times.
Yeah, I dear audience, please do. I mean, this video would be up on our site as well, but for you to see the demonstration of the mudras that Raji recommends.
Good morning. While performing the mudras, it's important to first bear in your mind what is the purpose of performing the mudras. If the purpose is health related or achievement of certain siddhis, especially earthly related, then one can perform the mudras on the ground with a mat. But if the purpose is more spiritually inclined, then the preferred mode of performing the mudras should be on an asana. Take an asana made of wood, put some kusha grass on it, cotton cushion, a woolen blanket, and a white cotton sheet on it. Before starting, rub your hands at least 15 to 20 times so that it energizes and opens up the pores of all the fingers and the thumbs. Take between 3 to 6 deep breaths, hold your breath and exhale slowly. It's like performing the pranayama. The deep breath doesn't mean a forceful in-breath. It means a slow, deep going inside into the abdominal area. Holding the breath in pranayama has got a direct proportion to the breath time taken in, breath retained in kumbhaka, and the breath exhaled. You shall observe that by the deep breath, there's become a little calmness of the mind as the breath is controlled and the breath has been calmed by itself. My most favorite 3 mudras are the Abhay Mudra, the Vitark Mudra, and the Gyan or the Chin Mudra. I, however, also recommend 3 or 4 mudras which give you a lot of peace of mind, compassion, dispels negativity, and also gives you health-related benefits. I now perform the Abhay Mudra. The way to perform this mudra is to put both your hands open facing upwards on your laps. Pick up the right hand, bring it to the shoulder level and face it outwards. The left hand remains open facing upwards as it was in the original position. Close your eyes and see the impact of this mudra after some time. The mudra will move you into a state of fearlessness, into a state where you feel that you are the only one and there's no one else. Remember, the fear comes from duality. When you are the only one who's there to fear of, it shall automatically, without your even knowing, take you into a meditative state. But remember, whether this mudra or the others have to be practiced for minimum 30 minutes in a day. And the efficacy of this is only achieved once you have done it between 3 to 6 months, depending on the time and intensity of your concentration. The other mudra is the Vitark Mudra. This is in the same manner as the Abhay Mudra, but you move your right hand closer to your chest level or to the heart level. Touch the tip of the right thumb with the index finger, making a circle and leaving the other 3 fingers open, stretched out. It is in the same formation as the Gyan or the Chin Mudra that you would have already known, and you will observe when I perform it in a few minutes. During this mudra, you will see and observe and feel a change within your body alignment, and you shall start to feel a sense of quietness, a sense, a feeling of being absorbed, but absorbed in a very blissful, peaceful, tranquil manner. You shall also observe that your facial expression, the muscles of your face, react differently and become very peaceful. The other mudra is the Gyan or the Chin mudra. You begin in the same manner by opening the two palms of your hand on your laps, facing upwards. Bring in the index finger and the thumb to touch each other very lightly. Remember, in all the mudras, when you touch the element finger with the fire element thumb, it has to be touched very, very lightly, not pressed. You have to have that little sensation that there is something touching and the energy is flowing smoothly without any hindrance or blockage. The Gyan or the Chin mudra is the same formation of the hands, but there's a slight difference. The difference is in the posture, how you place your hands, upwards or facing down. When it's facing down, it's called the Gyan mudra. And you will observe the subtle difference after you practice it for a few months, that when you are in the Gyan mudra, you will see, feel, and observe the Gyan, which is the intuitive knowledge flowing downwards within you. Whereas in the Chin mudra, the palm facing upwards with index finger and the thumb touching lightly. The word Chin comes from Chit or consciousness. You should observe that here you're getting an awareness of that higher consciousness moving you eventually to the awareness of that ultimate consciousness. There are certain other mudras that I also recommend, or I perform them frequently. One is called the Karuna Mudra. In this particular mudra, which I'm going to perform and show you, you feel a sense of deep compassion towards everybody, everyone in this whole universe. So it's a universal compassion mudra, representing your humility in asking forgiveness from everyone and your generosity of forgiving everyone in the universe, irrespective of what they might have done to you. Take both the hands, face them in front of each other. Cup your right hand and bring the left hand fingers below the base of the right hand fingers. Touch them lightly. Fold the hands like an Anjali mudra with the thumbs resting on side of each other. The left thumb, of course, will be lower than the right one. The other mudra that I also do quite often is called the Mukul mudra or the Bud mudra. In this, all the four fingers are lightly touched with the thumb, forming a bud formation of the hand. This represents that all the elements are here now in complete unison, in complete equanimity, in complete adherence to each other, and in complete absorbing themselves as they have to be in the body with togetherness. The other great mudra is the Sanjeevani mudra or the Hriday Apan Vayu mudra. This is called Sanjeevani because It acts like a sobriquet, 1,000 sobriquets within the body during a heart attack, and it's extremely good for balancing any heart ailment and keeping the heart healthy. In this, the index finger is brought to the base of the thumb, and the thumb touches lightly the middle finger and the ring finger together. The little finger is left open facing upwards. Last but not the least is the Namaskar Mudra or the Anjali Behel Minrai Mudra. Oh, I'm sorry. The Anjali Mudra, which represents universal accepting, universal greetings all over the world. There is a little catch to this mudra. When you bring in all the fingers and the palm together and the thumbs, the palms should be little bent and a gap on both sides of the palm left a little open. This is the openness for accepting each other from the heart. The other mudra that I practice and also recommend is the Karana Mudra. This brings in positivity and dispels negativity from the body. It's performed by bringing the right hand in front of the heart, the thumb touching the middle and the ring finger lightly, and the index and the little finger stretched out upwards. The mudra should be performed with the hand facing a little outward, then inward. This helps you to get the positivity when you take the breath in pranayam and dispels the negativity with the breath out. One of the most important mudras is the Dhyan Mudra. This mudra is performed sitting erect. The shoulders in this mudra are a little relaxed, and the head posture is maybe 5 degrees looking down towards earth. This represents the humility and softness in meditation. Both the hands are placed one on top of the other in the lap. The right hand over the left hand, gently resting, and the thumbs touching softly together at the tips. This mudra eventually leads to the most blissful state because the posture itself is so relaxed and comfortable that leads to the complete, infinite, blissful state in meditation.
Gee, thank you so much. And that was a surprise. So are you saying that I'm a mudra and I don't need to practice anymore?
Yeah, I don't know, the name is such. You see, actually in Hingori Sutras, there's some very, very apt names. Like you have Anjali, Behel, Menrai. You've got the Lady of Light called Roshni. You have you have the Hut Yogini called Sa. So it's a good combination, by the way.
True, very true. All our Guru's blessings there.
Yeah. God bless all of you. You guys are very nice and doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you
And
so much.
anything that I can do, wherever you want me, do let me know. I'll be back.
Yes, of course. But we're not letting you go still. We have a few questions put
Yes,
up here and would like you to answer.
please.
One of the questions is, which of the mudras do you recommend for doing the Gayatri or the Mahagayatri mantra?
You got me. You see, Gayatri, you have to understand, it's a very complex mudra system of Gayatri. It is the most important and the powerful mantra in the Hindu philosophy, and anywhere else. Everybody's going to say the same thing. Gayatri is the chand. Gayatri is actually, if you say Gayatri mantra, the important thing in a mantra are three things. One is the Dev of the mantra, one is the Rishi of the mantra, and one is the chand of the mantra. The Rishi of this mantra is Rishi Vishwamitra. The Dev of this mantra is Surya, is Savitur. It's a Surya mantra. It's not a Gayatri mantra, it's a Surya mantra. Gayatri is the chand. So there are 7 chands. There are 7 most important chands. Gayatri chand is the shortest of all the chands, whether it be Trishtup, Anushtup, Jagati, Prakti. Gayatri has got 24 akshars, 3 pad of 8 syllables each, making it 24 akshars. Akshar is not a shabd. Akshar is alphabet. Akshar basically means the indestructible one. Akshay, jiska shay na ho sake. That means akshar. So these 24 akshars make the Gayatri. And the Gayatri is a 24 akshar. Those 24 akshars, which have been visualized by that great Rishi, which came out from sound, in that vacuity of that space, those 24 akshars come into the body as 24 glands called the granthis. So 24 granthis. These 24 granthis have 24 Devi Devtas. Each granthi or each gland has its own Devi Devta, located in 24 parts of the body, the 24 glands. These 24 Devi Devtas have 24, each mantra for them. So there are 24 different mantras. And these 24 mantras produce 24 different energies. So what is happening? When you go to a deity and try to worship Shiva, for instance, Shiva is very pleased by the Linga Mudra. You go to Vishnu, Vishnu is very, very happy with the Vishnu Mudra. Brahma is happy with the Brahma Mudra. But here it is a deity with 24 deities in it. So there are 24 mudras. And then there are the Vairathi mudras, the 7 Vairathis of the Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam. And then the Gayatri mantra, which basically is Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. In the original Gayatri mantra, there is no Om Bhur Bhuva Swa. The Gayatri mantra in Rig Veda is Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. But in the Yajur Veda, the three Vyarthis are added of the Bhu, Bhuva, and Swa. But in pronunciation, it's not Bhu, Bhuva, Swa, because in Sanskrit, when the two bhas move, the Ucharan becomes R. Om Bhu. So if you were to say Om Bhu Bhu, so when you combine quickly, it becomes Om Bhur Bhuvaswa Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om is the pranav, so it's the energizing of everything. But to perform the 24 mudras, I know them very well. I perform them every day, 3 times a day, for at least 30 minutes each session. But it needs a sitting down. So we'll discuss this when we are at Gayatri, and then there's 7 mudras for the Mahavyarathis.
That's a great idea. I think when we do a session on Gayatri Mantra, we would take this up at that time.
Yeah, because for Gayatri Mantra, there are 24 mudras and they have to be done in complete unison.
Right.
I perform those mudras differently than what you would see on wherever you might see, because that is not the correct way of doing it. I mean, I can make that thundering statement.
Sure, sir. Then in our next session, when we do another session on the Gayatri Mantra with Rajiji, we would take up that question. And of course, I think graciously make another video for us. So there's another question which says, good evening, sir. What was Gurudev's take on mudras? Has he spoken about the same?
Guruji himself was a divine mudra. What more can I say? To him, his guru was the greatest, and that is what he taught us. Mudras have come to me a little later. It is his blessing that it has come, and it is only by his blessings that I perform with his permission and his acceptance, and that's how I've been able to go forward. Guruji's take was not on the mudras.
Right. And there's a question here about, is there a mudra that can help with hair fall?
I'm sure the best is the hair fall thing. One should ask Amitabh Bachchan. He advertises a lot for some kind of hair oil.
Right.
But there should be. I mean, there has to be. I mean, I'm not aware of it. I've not gone into that depth. You see, I don't go into much of. I know basically the other element mudras, but I don't practice them, because the moment you do the Mukul mudra, what happens with Mukul mudra? It's a combination of everything, and with that you can heal yourself.
Right.
Pointing that there's a technique to do it, but everything is in unison. You don't have to do this mudra and that mudra. Okay, for the air imbalance, I should do the Vayu mudra. Well, no need. And also the Mukul mudra, when you do the Mukul mudra, once you start doing it, after some time you'll observe it not only balances the various elements together, it removes the dosh and also gives you a great sense of concentration.
Of self-acceptance as well?
No, I wouldn't say that. Not self-acceptance, but it helps you in concentration like a Gyan mudra. Because what is happening here is, in the Gyan and the Chin mudra, you're moving 2 elements together. Here, all the elements are or together itself, all together. The air and the fire element is there, which also then becomes predominant, because the air and fire are the more two predominant elements in this world.
Right. So in all, what you're saying is, the focus on within rather than our physical exterior, and focusing, doing the mudras on our consciousness would bring about balances in every aspect of this physical life, right?
Yes, Anjali, I mean, this is a topic we could discuss in when meditation and the other yoga practices are concerned. What is
Right.
yoga? What is inside? What is outside?
Right.
How is the outside inside, and how is the inside outside? And whether it's outside or inside, it's the inside, and within the
Yeah.
inside, what is there which is inside? When you go to see inside, there's nothing. You cannot see Anjali inside. It's
Correct.
just an experience. There is nothing
Right.
inside. Where is it? Where is that ego? Where is that memory? Where is what? Where is that Atma? It doesn't. When you can't see it, where is its existence? So that is a different uh, aspect. We can discuss this sometime when we discuss Yoga Vashisht, Valmiki Ramayana on it.
Right.
But that is a true Gyan.
True.
So, but yes, it's looking inwards. What is the whole purpose of the mudras, meditation, talks? Is to get to know yourself. Now, somebody asked me, they said, "Tell me, Rajiji, how does one know yourself?" So I asked him, I said, "What's your name?" He said, "My name is Mukesh." I said, "Very good. Mukesh, if you were to go into a mela or into a fair, would you be able to find yourself in that crowd? If I have to ask you, can you find yourself?" He said, "Of course." I said, "How will you find yourself?" He said, "Because I am." So I said, in that mela you can find yourself, but you can't find yourself within yourself. How strange.
Lovely. Lovely. I think it is with this thought, we would like to end this session. And dear audience, I think you should introspect on these very last words of the session today. To find yourself and look for yourself within.
And let
With
me tell you,
that-
it's not difficult. It's the simplest thing. It is the simplest thing to do.
Okay.
And once you see yourself and you achieve it, that is the bliss. Because that is what you are. If they say, we have taken birth.
Ji.
So how do you take birth, Anjali? When somebody has died. Correct?
Right.
Then you say, oh, I took another birth. Yet at the same time you say, the Atma Amar hai. Isn't that strange? Agar Amar hai, to mari kaise? और जब मरी नहीं तो वो जन्मी कैसे?
बिल्कुल.
Very simple. But we are only concerned, this is what I call philosophers of the post-prandial nature. Sitting on a dining table after a sumptuous meal and a glass of wine is, oh, you know what? Oh, this is what it is. But when you yourself are saying that the Atma is Amar, if it's Amar, it did not die. If it did not die, what is the question of its birth? It's so simple. Why do you go around looking here? That's what Guruji used to say. my great master. इसे कहाँ जाना है? The statement, it's everything is inside you. Sit here and do it. The great statement of one of the great rishis. He says, Anjali, one of the most beautiful statements that I've ever heard or read, in Yoga Vasishtha. He says, liberation is at hand. All the time, everywhere. So why do you know it? He says, why do you need to go to a cave? What will you achieve in the cave? Sit here. Sit here in your room. That's what Guruji also used to say. Sit here in your room. Why do you go to a mandir? Hey, make the mandir in your bedroom. Strange. No privacy. So it's the simplest thing is to know yourself. Because if you can't know yourself, how can you know others? And you say, oh, I've got great intuitive power. I know what that man is thinking. I know what he wants. You don't know yourself, but you know what the other person's mind.
Ji.
Anything else? Any other questions that?
I think, we would end the session with this fabulous thought and advice. And thank you so very much for such an enlightening session,
You're most welcome.
And looking
Most
forward
welcome.
to having you again on our session.
I don't know how enlightened everybody is, but I got enlightened talking to everyone. It is a great feeling. Yeah.
There are loads of thumbs up and there are loads of thank yous here. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful session. And thank you very much, dear audience. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, Anjali, for making it happen. And God bless everyone. Take care and goodbye.
Ji. Good night. Goodbye. Sayonara. Khuda Hafiz. See you next week, next Sunday.